All right. I think we're good. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning, Omashar. Great to hear your voice.
Wow. Beautiful show last night. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Larisa, that was phenomenal.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Wonderful to be here. Wonderful to have you here again. Thank you.
And Omashar, we've got to line up a time for you to play music. I was thinking about that this morning. We'll schedule a time.
That'd be awesome. And I'm really happy to be here. Thank you.
Well, welcome. And welcome, everybody. Those of us in our Zoom meeting, I see a lot of friends. And definitely want to welcome those of you watching on Facebook. And I also want to welcome anybody watching the replay. Our statistics show that about 30 to 40% of the people who actually watch our shows now watch us on our YouTube channel or watch a Facebook recording or replay. So welcome so much. This, of course, is the Sacred Sunday Show. I'm Love Coach Shakti Thomas. And this is our kind of final completion show all about this weekend's theme, the awakening world, the WEvolution. And so we're going to talk a little bit more about the WEvolution, and we're going to go into very specific tips, tools, and practices. And I have three wonderful guests. Of course, Larisa Stowe, who's been my co-pilot all weekend long. The wonderful Jason Firth, who's been her co-pilot for many, many years. And Eden Amadora, who is going to be one of the co-hosts of the Awakening World. And all of them have some really beautiful gifts. We usually start the Sacred Sunday Show with a meditation. And we're actually going to do a significant meditation at 11:11. So instead, we are going to start with wonderful Jason, who, first off, I want to thank you, Jason, for being with us. I also want to acknowledge that Jason's mother passed away this week, and yesterday was her memorial service. And so I have no doubt she's looking down from being back in heaven in the astral plane at her son and our world from the new view. And thank you, Jason, for on this powerful week, this powerful time of your life, being with us and sharing with us.
Oh my goodness.
And your camera just went out.
I know, sorry. I need to turn off notifications. I just got a call in the middle, so give me just a sec to turn off everything.
That's right. And that's a good reminder. Thank you, actually. That works out perfect because it reminds us that because it's a Zoom meeting, please everybody, including all of our guests in the Zoom room, make sure that you're muted, because otherwise in the midst of Jason's beautiful music or Eden's brilliant speaking, we're going to hear somebody saying, honey, is breakfast ready yet? Or dogs barking, or all the things that happen in our homes. So do keep yourselves muted. We will be making it participatory, and we will be interacting with many of you later on today. So we're looking forward to that. And let us know, Jason, when you're ready and you got your camera back on.
Oh, am I good again?
There we go.
All right. So I'm not going to do much introduction. I just want to dive in the song. But maybe I'll tell what a first word means, a middle word means, and a last word means. One of the reasons I like this Ram healing mantra is the very first word after Om, unlike so many mantras that are like Om abundance, Om Ganesh. The very first word, Apadamapa, is catastrophe. The very last word is Namamyaham. It's a form of namaste, but it's got ya, which is like a great cheer, and hum, which is like heart and throat chakra. So it's this like great feeling of hooray at the end. So it leads us from catastrophe to it's all good, hooray, which is what healing is. Right in the middle, there's a loka, which means all the realms, everywhere, like in Loka Samasta. Here we go. Om Aparamapa hattaram dattaram sarva sampadam loka Viramam Shri Ramam Vyo Vyo Namam Yaham Viramam Shri Ramam Vyo Vyo Namam Yaham Om Aparamapa hattaram dattaram sarva sampadam loka Viramam Shri Ramam Vyo Vyo Namam Yaham Ram, Lord Ram, shine on us all everywhere. In catastrophe, give us strength. In sorrow, give us peace. Ram, Lord Ram, shine on us all everywhere. Om Aparamapa hattaram dattaram sarva sampadam loka Viramam Shri Ramam Vyo Vyo Namam Yaham Viramam Shri Ramam Vyo Vyo Namam Yaham Om Aparamapa hattaram dattaram sarva sampadam loka Viramam Shri Ramam Vyo Vyo Namam Yaham Ram, Lord Ram, draw back your bow and aim like sunshine through rain, like laughter in pain. Ram, Lord Ram, draw back your bow and aim. Om Aparamapa hattaram dattaram sarva sampadam loka Viramam Shri Ramam Vyo Vyo Namam Yaham Viramam Shri Ramam Vyo Vyo Namam Yaham Om Aparamapa hattaram dattaram sarva sampadam loka Viramam Shri Ramam Vyo Vyo Namam Yaham Viramam Shri Ramam Vyo Vyo Namam Yaham Om Aparamapa hattaram dattaram sarva sampadam loka Viramam Shri Ramam Vyo Vyo Namam Yaham Ram, Lord Ram, draw back your bow and fire. Our hearts are open to hear our friends and foe. Ram, Lord Ram, draw back your bow. Abadamapa hattaram dattaram sarva sampadam loka Viramam Shri Ramam Vyo Vyo Namam Yaham Viramam Shri Ramam Vyo Vyo Namam Yaham Om Aparamapa Dattaram dattaram sarva sampadam loka.
Oh. Mm, mm.
You.
Thank you so, so much, Jason. It's just beautiful. I'm going to bring on one of our guest panelists, Eden Amadora. And many of you know Eden, but any of you who don't, she actually has something perfect to share about what you just played, Jason. And anybody who doesn't know Eden, she's a speaker, author, spiritual teacher, and she's the ordained 13 moon priestess. And she'll talk more about that, of course, today. She's an amazing coach, an amazing friend, an amazing soul. And you've got something to share about what you just heard, Eden.
Yeah, thank you, Scott. And thank you so much, Jason. That transported me completely. Such deep peace. And there's two things actually your mantra really catalyzed in my heart. One is that a dear yogi friend gave me a Kriya many years ago, and he said, this is the most grounding Kriya. And it was that mantra with a very simple movement with it that connected your soul star. Maybe we can all even just kind of feel that for a moment. Like when you bring your hands like you're holding a ball of light above your crown. And then usually this is done standing and you kind of do a squat, but you press down towards the earth. It's like really landing from that solar light, that Narayana, Ram. He's so connected to Vishnu, the great preserver. And then we come all the way down and bring our hands together at the root chakra and imagine a beam of light just penetrating down into the earth, into the core of the earth, aligned with our central channel. And then breathing up like big wings again that just lift up through our luminous egg, lifting the heart chakra back to the soul star and grabbing that light, that limitless light, the solar light that makes all life possible. And then one more time, just pushing down and grounding. Imagine that mantra. We'd all have to learn it. It's quite a good one. It's pretty complex. And so then we penetrate down into the earth with these hands of light pointing down at the root chakra. And so this was a gift that I practiced for years with that mantra. And the story about Ram and why we're asking him to pull back his bow and shoot, and the metaphor of that for me, and the story as I understand it, Larisa probably knows this very well too. There was this evil demon that was kind of wreaking havoc with the godly realm named Ravana, and he was unbeatable by all the gods, and he decided to steal Sita, who's the personification of divine love. Rama and Sita are like divine union together. So this demon, who of course is just the representation of our ego mind, our fear, our greed, our lust, our desires that are unsatiable, and that corrupted mind that feels like there's not enough, so we have to steal love from outside of ourselves. And so Ram is distraught, seeking for his beloved, and Hanuman, this loyal, devotional ally, says, I will take this great leap of faith. And sometimes you see Hanuman opening up his chest with an image of Rama and Sita inside. And he's the son of the wind god. So he takes this big breath and this big leap of faith. And he leaps all the way from India to Sri Lanka, where he finds Sita bound to a tree, prisoner of Ravana. And he gives her a ring, a special ring, and says, have faith, we're coming for you. And so Ram gathers all his forces and he flies in his chariots across to Sri Lanka to do battle with this demon, though they know this demon has never been beaten in any kind of normal battle. But Ram has one secret weapon. He has one arrow that is very, very special. And this is a vibrational arrow. And he shoots this arrow, this vibrational arrow, into Ravana's heart. And it doesn't kill him, it liberates him. And this arrow is the Sun Heart Mantra. And the Sun Heart Mantra touched my life and just started to unfold in my heart. And it literally means, as close as we can translate it in English, no fear, no hate, no pain, no illusion befalls the one who has awakened the sun. The sun is the heart. The sun is the heart. And I'll just speak it once in the Sanskrit form so you can feel it. Om Aditya Hridayam Punyam Sav Shatru Binashanam. Om Aditya Hridayam Punyam Sav Shatru Binashanam. So this is Rama's Sun Heart Mantra that he defeated the evil demon Ravana with by awakening his heart. For when our heart awakens, we drop out of that polarity, duality, mind and root chakra, fight and flight, and we come into this this unity consciousness, this beauty that sees you as another me, that sees that we are all here in soul family together like one organism. So I really love that we started the show with the Ram mantra and this beauty.
Can I comment something on that? I love that version of the story. The version of that story, the saving of Sita from Ravana, that I know best is how they tell it in Bali. And it's quite violent. And I love this like beautiful heart sun version, much less violent. So right, Larisa, that's so beautiful.
Yes, it is beautiful. I love it. I absolutely love it.
This was the story that was shared with me. Maybe it's, everybody gets their own versions, and it's uplifted me. And I do the Sun Heart Mantra regularly and share it with others because it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
So
Well, and that's the thing about stories, of course, every story, listen, I tell stories, we all tell stories, and my stories change and evolve over the years. And sometimes when I'm telling a story that I've been telling for 20 years ago, wow, how has it changed? How has it evolved in my own story? But I think all of us, and to bring it into the WEvolution, maybe turn over to Larisa in a moment, is I love, again, because it was about the bow and it's about the arrow of love that liberates us, right? That arrow of love. As a coach, I've had these moments where when I'm working with a couple and they're in that polarized place, and instead of emphasizing it, I ask them to remember a moment when they felt really well loved or really well cared for by the other. And if one of them has the courage to do that, everything changes. It's like that arrow of love takes them out of the polarized thinking, and they remember, oh yeah, I love you. I miss you. So I'm missing that love. The emotional pain we have is in direct proportion to the love that we're missing. So anyway, with that, I'm going to turn it over to Larisa to kind of bring us into today's wonderful Sunday. Oops.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Eden. Thank you, Jason. This is the we. It's like the we is here, and I saw that Satyana also, by the way, she's on here too, and she's going to be sharing today. So she came in, just so you know, Scott.
I pinned her, so go ahead if you want to.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. What I love that Eden shared this version of the story of Rama and Sita and Hanuman, and it's different than what we learned in Bali. And they're actually in the Hindu pantheon, the stories, depending upon what sect you are coming through, be it the Shivite sect or be it the Shaktas or the Krishnas, you will hear different versions of these stories. And that is actually really speaks of the we, and how many different ways and facets that we experience things in life, and how we get to deepen with one another as we connect all these dots and continue in our consciousness to awaken to. There's so much more. There's always incredible potential as we recognize the we. And the WEvolution is truly about dropping from our heads, from that monkey mind, Hanuman, right? The monkey, but the monkey serving the heart, right? So he is like that which is the monkey mind that has dropped so deeply into his heart that Sita and Rama he is one with Sita and Rama, which is the lover and the beloved within, right? So the WEvolution calls for us to drop into heart-centered awareness and then to actually make that like fully embodied. So fully embody that heart awareness and that heart consciousness. And to see that there, it's not about this or that, right, wrong, good, bad. When we're in the heart center, what we recognize is that we are everything. And knowing that we are everything, that which we judge is actually exists within ourselves as well. So the WEvolution is linking hands and hearts and arms in a unified vision of what do we want to create together. Now that we see that there is this one organism that is the we within the one, this one organism, what do we want to create in the world rather than what we don't want to create? And as we have seen, we've put a lot of emphasis in this past year plus 2 years now of what we don't want. And in the conversations that we've been having in the world, it has created division because we have focused on what we don't want and seeing the other as completely different or wrong rather than seeing them as ourselves. So now that we're walking together, and this is so exciting that here we are, we're having this conversation with one another, and it's imperative. That's the most important conversation that we could be having right now, is what do we want to create in a unified field from the heart, in love, for all of us. And from that, we can create a sustainable world. We can create conscious relationships, businesses that are about collaboration and play, like having playmates, like how can we play more like we're doing right now? Like it's so fun, right? We don't have to do this alone. And that's something we're all learning. I'm like learning that. Like I reached out to Mariah, one of our leaders in the WEvolution, and I said, oh my gosh, can you let the leaders know to come into this Zoom room? Because I've been so like going with the WEvolution here that I haven't reached out. Well, I could have reached out to Mariah sooner to start communicating that. So it's rewiring our thinking about how we can collaborate and play with one another and lean into one another in a common vision. And it's fun. It's fun to see Eden and play with Scott this weekend and say, yay, Jason, he gets to share. And Satiana from France, who's going to share today about her IWE and what she's doing. We get to play. We get to play. And that is the shift in thinking. We all win when we play together in love, for love, because we are love. That's what we came to do, is embody love now. So we're heading to that fifth dimension together because we know, and we're pulling that bow, the contraction. Like, look at the contraction. We pull back the bow. There's a huge contraction in pulling back that bow. And that's what we've been feeling, is a contraction. The contraction in the world. But if we're conscious with that contraction rather than unconscious with that contraction, then we know what we're doing and we know where we're aiming, and we know right now. So we can release that bow, and there we go. We ascend right into the fifth dimension, right out of that root chakra, right on up.
It's beautiful that you're using that analogy. And as I was getting ready to do the Awakening World, I got some interviews from different major luminaries, including Reverend Michael Beckwith. And I asked him to give us, like, what does the awakening world mean to you? And I wish I could pull it up easily. Maybe I'll find it later and play it before the end of the show today. He talks about that very thing. He says that the contraction we're experiencing right now is that we're obviously, the way the world has been going is unsustainable. Obviously, the paradigm has to change and will change, and it is exactly that. He uses the word a slingshot. He says, it's like a slingshot, and we pull this slingshot back, and then there's going to be this incredible renaissance, is the word he uses, that there will be a tremendous renaissance. And those of us that are visionaries, like you and Jason and Eden, and probably all the people that are in this room right now, visionaries, we're already there, right? We already can see the promised land. We can always see already see the next paradigm. We can always, and we're bringing it through our music or our creative expression or whatever our particular way of seeing and manifesting the future is. So I love that we kind of started on that theme, right? Yes. So thank you, Jason, for the theme of the bow, right? Do you want to introduce your friend from France?
I do. My beloved Satyana. I don't see you yet. Oh, there you are. Satyana. Hello, beloved. Satyana is a dear sister, incredible sister, who is an amazing visionary that I met years ago, again, through my music. It seems to be that my music seems to be like a way for me to meet my beloveds in many ways. And Satyana, I met her through my music, and she has been an inspiration with what she has been creating in the world. I shared last night how she created this incredible event called the Green Valentine's Day event, which had nonprofits that she brought together, people who are making huge differences in the world, and folk putting the awareness, like on Valentine's Day, from what can we do? How can we take this love and what are we going to do with all that love and share it in the world? And so she is an incredible organizer of bringing people together in love for love. And her work in the world with children is amazing, and families. Her IWE is amazing in what she's doing. And I'm so inspired by her. And we are dear, dear friends and have been for quite some time now. And I'm so honored to have you on the show today, Satyana.
Thank you. Well, I'm so honored to be here too. And thank you for having spoken about Green Valentines. I wasn't even going to, so that's great. And I know that connected. I don't know if you talked about it yesterday, but the fact that it was Michelle's first MC event,
the
Green Valentines.
Wow. Okay.
And it connected you and Susan also.
Yes, you did. I talked about that. Right. Yes.
Anyways, I'm so happy to be here. What can I share about? I can share about maybe what you haven't spoken about yet is the movement United for Life, right? That started in France last August on Mother Mary's Day, which was to bring us all together, just like everything you're saying, to, all these dividing tendencies. And so United for Life was to bring us all back together. And I just want to show, this is an image of do you see it? The bird, the white bird, it's to bring peace. And so this woman made those, and all around France, when there was manifestations, like people going in the street and rallying, she would offer one of these. And so she offered us one too, and she's going all the different places in France. And so I wanted to just show, I don't know if you can see it very well, but this is the idea of United for Life, is to bring people together dressed in white, if possible, but all the colors of the rainbow at the same time, to go into the footstep of the rainbow prophecies that have been in all the American Indian cultures saying that this was the time where all the people would come together, all the colors, all the races, to bring healing to this planet. And so in the energy of that, we created United for Life. In France, Unis pour la Vie, and then United for Life, that we inaugurated with you, Larisa, and Michelle. And we have a Facebook page. There's not a lot of people on it, but I'm going to re-invite people to go on and set their most beautiful intentions on the idea of John Lennon, imagine the world we want to see every time we light a candle with our best intentions. Or there's also the action of when we drink water, to just say, I'm in peace and the world is too. Just these little things we can do every day to bring more consciousness and together. So come together to light the candle and to sing, to chant. That's the idea too. We take that, right, that elevates celebrate, just like that man was saying that I listened to the replay, but wonderful Xavier, or I think that was his name, but it was really nice. Saturday night, yes, last night. Oh, I don't know what your time is right now, but anyways, yes, keep the vibrations high, the elevating the vibrations of love, the love frequency, and through action. So that's one of the things we're doing in France, and we're connected with you in California. And that makes me really happy to share. And then you mentioned IWE. I don't know if you want me to stop, or if I can show IWE and what it is about. What's the time frame?
Please, yeah, go ahead and share. We'll be going back and forth in conversation. Okay. Go ahead, share your.
Okay. Well, I just want to show you mentioned IWE. Oh, it's reversed, but it's IWE. Right. I is the I and the we together. It's like the WEvolution. And so this was an educational model that I started in 2012 after I lost my son Christopher, little angel, that inspired a lot of my work. But this educational model was about the we already, to have leaders from the community come and share their passions, their talents, and their gifts with the community to raise the children together. So that has become a French book that is now this one, and a game, which is the New Earth game. Because IWE in French is genou, but genou is like a knee. It's not fun. So I had to find a way in French to make it, and it became jeu, which is a game. You talk about game and play, and it's shared through a card game. It's shared through the whole education model. IWE is now in a card game that families can play together to recreate connection, to recreate sharing in non-violent communication ways, in doing dancing and chanting. It's like play together, 3 to 10 families together to raise the children together, like the indigenous village. So that's what the New Earth game is about. And thank you for having me here share about it, because it's my life's work. So
thank you so much. And we're certainly going to hear more from you. What we're wanting to do today is really provide tools for people. Like, okay, how, we've been celebrating and understanding what the WEvolution is this weekend. And so for all of our panelists, we're going to be kind of providing today, what are some tools? What are some practices? What are some ways that we can really live the WEvolution? And one of the themes that I've noticed that's emerged already has been the theme of play. I really love that, the theme of play. When a little earlier when you were speaking, Larisa, I was thinking my favorite band has always been the band Yes, and I since got to know John Anderson, and kind of the great concept album was called Tales from Topographic Oceans, and it all peaks with kind of the final chorus is Nous sommes du soleil, we love when we play. And, we are of the sun and we love when we play. And so I just want to acknowledge that's a beautiful, beautiful theme. And another way we can play, I want to, give a moment because Eden has this really wonderful way to play that she's kind of come up with. And so Eden, I'd love for you to, and I'll pull up the website where people can get the quiz, but tell us a little bit about your quiz.
So in the work I've been doing for about 13 years in the Divine Feminine Mysteries, we work with archetypes, different archetypes of the goddess. And there's one called the Muse, the magical Muse, and she is all about play, levity, innocence of heart, coming back to our divine children, and also kind of holding the wounded child until there's integration and relaxation, so that the creative muse and the divine child can really play. And one way that I thought would be a really sweet way to introduce these archetypes to the greater collective, because not everybody resonates necessarily with like mystery school priestess trainings or even embodiment of the goddess, though it is becoming more known that this is a powerful way to open the heart and live embodied love. So I created a beloved archetype quiz that combines different goddess archetypes, and you get to feel how you most naturally love. What is your style already of loving? What are your passionate proclivities and genius and gifts that you just raise your frequency naturally when you go there? And as you find out about this love energy, this beloved within, like Larisa talked about the lover and the beloved that live within our own hearts, as we come into more awareness of this, we become more balanced. We become more able to love really freely and from a place of fullness, rather than that kind of trying to get something from the other, or projecting our incompleted parts on another. So this beloved quiz is a beginning exploration of, well, what are your special powers already? How do you love? And then it's a very sweet way of looking at the shadows that we all have that are just that which is yet to be loved into our awareness and integrated. And then some tools to how to integrate those shadows so they don't repeat the same patterns in relationship that create that feeling of division and suffering. So this was a way that I really enjoyed playing, and it's a fun quiz. It's playful, it's mostly images, and it's a way to just like honor yourself and delight yourself with whatever you end up finding out about yourself. So it's gotten a lot of great feedback. I really enjoy sharing it.
And people can get to it. I just put the link in the chat box, and I'll do that for some of our Facebook pages. Or if you go to her website, edenamadora.com, and right off the bat, discover your beloved archetype, and you just click here, and that'll also take you to the quiz. I took it, and it's fun because then you get an automated response that tells you a little bit about who you are. And it's, again, a really wonderful and fun way to play. I'm going to bring Larisa on as well. Larisa, I noticed that when you were introducing Satyana, you talked about how you've met so many of your beloveds through music, right? Which is, of course, an incredible way to play. Yeah. And so what are, and I'm going to bring our Satyana and Jason on as well. What are some other ways we can play together that you found are effective in creating a sense of we? And this is now open to Satyana, Jason, Eden, Larisa.
I would say, because we're going to be doing it soon, it's coming up right around the corner. People will be hopefully joining on our Facebook group, Larisa Shakti Love Warriors. We do something where we come together daily and we meditate together. We dive in into those deeper waters of gratitude and sharing that love with the world. And we chant. Sometimes we chant together. Like we have done a Ganesha 40-day Ganesha mantra challenge. We have done a 41-day Rama mantra challenge as a community. And now we're going to do an Adi mantra, an Adi Shakti mantra challenge coming up on Tuesday. We're going to start a 41-day practice from the 11th of January through the 22nd or the 20th of February. So music, chanting, meditating, but doing that as a collective, like feeling the collective we. And I love how, Satyana, you say I we, right? Because it's about the I showing up, but within the we. So we experience ourselves as an individual, a personality. You know, we get these amazing personalities that as this personality sees things in a certain way, and because of that, we're a puzzle piece in seeing and perceiving differently. We have specific medicine to share with the we. So the I shows up within the we, and then the we benefits from that. So we come together in meditation, and to deepen our connection within the we, it's up to us as the I to plug daily into source. I would say right there, that's like foundational. If you're not plugging into source daily on your own and connecting with gratitude, connecting with your heart, with love, you're not going to be so in alignment as you're sharing with the we in the rest of your day, as you're interacting in the we in the rest of your day. So I would say this is a very high value of the WEvolution, is to plug deeply daily into source, be it in meditation, like a silent meditation, or I do a moving meditation that I call Riding the Dragon, daily, or you could do a walking meditation. You can chant, sing as your meditation, whatever drops you into that heart center awareness and source.
Mhm.
So I offer that, and we'll be activating that around 11 a.m. as people start to come in, and at the 11 after the hour, we're going to meditate together for
Yeah.
11 minutes here in the we.
Eden, Satyana, Jason, any other ways of playing together, WEvolutioning together you want to share?
If
I'll
I could
speak.
get it, it's sort of doubling down on what Larisa said. But mantra practice is so good for the I and the we. We can have our own mantra practice in our own heart as we're strengthening ourselves. And then we can so easily share it with other people when we go into kirtans and chanting together. I tried to do that as best I could yesterday. It was my mom's funeral. And I tried to bring that in by leading the whole congregation in a kirtan style mantra. It was actually like a Mormon children's hymn that my mom really liked. That stirred in some mantra meanings that her and I collaborated on, because it was such a sad day. It was hard for me to even talk, but this mantra that was personal to me, uh, leading it with the congregation was super helpful to get through it and bring some joy and some togetherness. So for me, that's when you talk about tools that are good for your eye and can be super good for the we, chanting and mantra and singing, like, because it's literally vibration, right? These like Sanskrit mantras, and in other traditions, um, Native American, there's so many traditions that have this way of passing on oral wisdom through vibrational repetition of words accompanied sort of with music or rhythm. It's such a good way as a personal practice, and then a group tool to raise our vibration.
Thank you.
So beautiful. I even just feel uplifted hearing you talk about it, Jason. And I really love mantra too. It's been a big part of my life, and I share it with the groups I hold. And I recognize that it's about raising our love level, raising that kind of high frequency energy in our own body, mind, spirit, and then sharing it and offering it in groups that it's the highest high. That's divine play for me. I really love that. And I would probably add in some breath and movement as great tools too. In the circles that I lead, we often use breath to just get here now, get out of that projection in the past or the future, and come right back to this holy now. And it's kind of like what Larisa said, it's like all happening in your heart and your body. That's where we're meant to reside. I like the expression, take up full soul residence, really come back, because we live in a world that doesn't really support a lot of presence. There's a lot to like project into the future with anxiety and what's going to happen, and bombarded with so much information. So for me, a simple tool that I use on myself every day is just to put a hand on my heart chakra and give it some light pressure in a little spiral, like an anointing, and just breathe into the back heart. It's almost like opening the wings of the back heart. And then breathe and put the other hand to light on your lower belly, the dantian, and you see if you can even breathe all the way down into the sacral chakra. Sometimes a big sigh on the exhale helps. Just land in this moment. Leaning back. We're a very forward leaning culture, like in our computers and our phones and our future anxieties. So if we can bring the crown of our head back and our heart forward, feel gravity, this is where it's all happening. And the more that I do this as a practice, the more it's kind of like, oh, I notice when I'm triggered and when I'm not present and I'm in a story and I come back. Even in public, you can kind of put your hand on your heart and take a few breaths. It's not like a whole mudrik thing. It's just very simple. So this is a great tool we can all use to come back and raise our vibration again, and then start to breathe with that other being maybe that even said something or did something that we were not feeling really happy about a moment ago. Breath can really bring us back. So I'm just offering that tool as a good frequency raiser.
Thank you, Eden. Thank you. Thank you very much. You know, we just briefly saw Omashar, and he actually wrote something in the chat box. Daily conscious connection to source, unplugging as much as possible from the matrix. It's so imperative as we move forward into our collaborative new now. Absolutely. I'm going to actually read a few other comments, and anybody who is in our Zoom meeting, we always love hearing from you. We're going to make it more interactive. Sylvia writes, cooking and eating together as prayer and mantra. That's a good one. That's a really good one. And I'm going to read a few more comments from some of our people. Of course, a lot of people are sending love to you, Jason, for this tender time in your life. So there's a lot of love going your way. And yeah, Nancy suggesting the I am flag above the rainbow world flag. Wanda writes, Satyana, so glad you're playing. It does take a village. And glad that you mentioned John Lennon's Imagine. It also brings to mind Bob Marley's One Love, the Revolution. And so definitely we'll, read a few more comments. Christine writes, if each out-breath ends in death, each in-breath sees me born anew and present to the presence of love in this now moment. And that's from the Essene Book of Deads. So thank you for that, Christine. And finally, Eleanor writes, Jeffrey, you just inspired me, combining love and grace with, I always love to use the prayer of maximum grace. So maximum loving grace. Beautiful. Last one that I'll read, two more. Christy Michaels writes, we are so fortunate to be gathering with those willing to practice being kind and loving. Yes, Christy, that's right. And Alan Steinfeld, by the way, I want to thank Alan. He always carries our shows on his YouTube channel. So thank you, Alan. Alan writes, Bruce Lipton calls the group mind of the WEvolution the synergy of awareness. So Thank you. Some beautiful comments. I know that our Shakti Love Warriors are going to join us in a moment, but we've got a few minutes. Yes, Tatiana.
Yeah, I'd like to share a little more, if I may, about the card game, because all the things that were shared, the values. I remember, Larisa, you were saying it's really important to align with our values in the WEvolution too, what is really important to us. And you spoke also of this idea of sharing the gifts. What I wanted to say, on the card game, it's based on the chakras, so the energy. And I know that in your practice you connect with the energy of the chakras. So I'm a yoga teacher also in the Kundalini tradition. I saw somebody say Satnam in the chat. And so in the game, the foundation of the game is love being win-win. And so that's also, you were saying it's important to have a spiritual practice, but it's also, somebody in the chat said, to practice loving each other. And when you teach that to children really early on, it's amazing. So that's really the foundation. And just wanted to give you some example of what can be in a game, but like, how do you repair something after you've been angry? What's an action that can help repair? Practice nonviolent communication. This is one of the children invented this pose, the kangaroo pose. So we added it in the card game. But it also says, tell us something that makes you laugh, because laughter is also good for elevating the energies. It teaches to plant intention, right? Teach how to make an intention. And then the WEvolution is an intention. It's like a seed we're planting that we want to grow. So we teach that to the children too. It teaches to meditate to the young ones, visualize, imagine things. And also so what I didn't share about the game is that it's a game in itself, but it invites other games. And then so it has jokers. And when a kid pulls a joker, he can pick a card from another game. And so we have, like on this card, you can pick a card from the artist. Oh, it's hard to see, but from the artist pile. And he can do something with art, which is also rising up the vibrations. The element of nature. I know that Susan was here, who worked with Sobanfu. So I had the blessing of meeting Sobanfu and working with her too. And so each family of color has an element. And this is the element of nature that comes from the Dagara tradition. And the nature is the elements of the magic, of the magi of nature. So the children are asked, if you had a superpower, what would it be? And start imagining that. Or if you were president, what would it be? Or animal totems. That's another deck, the card of Stephen Farmer. He made the animal totem for children. So that's another way to connect to play and power and force and to share. So there's lots of little things like that. And then there's I am happy, I am good, like a singing communication, right? With the arms when you sing, I'm happy, affirming.
We love that. Yes.
And there's the lion. You can, like, if you're angry, you can rah, right? Like you always do, Larisa, in your classes, with that inspired that card too, and let them as long as they want, right? And dance together, right? There's a card that you can dance.
Wow.
And breathing. Eden was talking about the breath, right? So that's also teaching the children how to breathe early on. The song from Thich Nhat Hanh, which is another great teacher. The song Breathing In, Breathing Out, right? Practice breathing. So, and then the last one is the intuitive game. Talk about games, connecting to our intuition and playing those games. So all these ideas played not just for the children, but for the family, for the friends. You can play with each other. And so it's not translated in English, but it will be. And I just want to say that I will offer, if people want, I have 16 cards of this game that I offer for free. They're in French still, but if you want them, then I'd be happy to share them with you.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Satyana. You have so embodied. You've taken your vision, what you've learned, what works for you, and you have so beautifully brought it to families and to children, and such an incredibly inviting, way. Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
It's
you so much.
it's
Wow.
really delightful too that you're coming from France, and I love that we have friends on the East Coast. Several of us are in California. We've got people in Hawaii. I mean, we are the global peace tribe.
Yes.
And in a moment, I know we're going to kind of move into prayer and into love Shakti Warriors, but there's one other, and it can be seen as a form of play. And that is supporting our beloved community when they are going through challenges. And I want to just take a moment to move our WEvolution, our we energy into that direction. There's a wonderful woman named Ruth Anderson who runs the Enlightened World Network. I know many of you watch her programs on Facebook. And Ruth and her family live in Colorado. This is a photo of their home taken about 2 weeks ago. There's the backyard. And they were away visiting her family for the Christmas holidays when they heard about the big fires going on in Colorado. And so, of course, they were watching the news. And as they were watching the news, they saw their home, that's their home, on the news on fire. And that's how they learned that their home had been destroyed. And that's what's left of their home. And this just has happened in the last 10 days. And so, as Jason's experience with the loss of his mother this week, we are living in a time of constant change. And there's the play and the excitement and the joy, and that's a big part of life. And there's also acknowledging and being present for our friends when they are going through a passage like Jason's going through, or when they are going through a sudden loss of a home. So I'd like to invite people to simultaneously put Ruth into your prayers, but also she could really use some green love energy. So there is a PayPal that I'm going to put the link into the chat box, and I'll put it into the Facebook pages. Or if you can see it right here, this is the PayPal where you can donate. And I really want to encourage people to put Ruth and her family and all the people who have lost their homes, all the people that are suffering. All of us know people who has known somebody who's recently passed away. All of us have lost loved ones recently. It's just that time. And so let's find that beautiful balance of remembering every day to sing and to dance and to play. And every day, who can we pray for? Who can we call? Who can we provide some green love to? So thank you very much for your support and your love. And let's create that perfect balance, shall we? I'm going to turn it over to Larisa.
Well, I would love to welcome our Shakti Love Warriors into our Zoom room, and also in the community. Those of you who aren't in our Zoom room right now, I'd love to say hello and welcome. And I would love to spotlight some of our leaders and some of our people who are in the community who have joined as well. Can we do that, Scott? Can we
Absolutely. Yeah.
Can we start pinning?
Absolutely.
Okay. So obviously we got our Jason, and Mariah is here. If you could bring Mariah in.
Absolutely, I will.
I see Sylvie is here. Sylvie. I see, actually, I see,
Whoops. There we go.
there's Mariah.
Hi.
And Deidre. Is it possible to put all of like the leaders and our just
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. As you're mentioning them, I'm adding spotlights. So right now we're seeing 4 of you. So I've got Maria, Sylvie, Jason, you. Who am I missing?
Deidre.
Deidre.
Uh-huh. And I see Mackie, but she doesn't have her camera on right now, so that's okay. So if you have your camera on from our group, would love to just give a shout out here to our beloved, some of our leaders here that show up and lead meditations and really make a difference and spreading and sharing the WEvolution and raising the vibration. I see Susan's coming in. Our Susan Huff from last night that Satyana and I both are really close with. Yay!
Yay.
Yay! So I want to acknowledge our beautiful Shakti Love Warrior leaders and all that you do to raise the vibration and sharing courageously and vulnerably with the community. It's so important. That is one of the high values of the WEvolution is courageous vulnerability. So thank you. And there's our Susan. Good morning, Susan.
I had to see Satyana.
Hi.
I had a client before, but I had to come in because she was there. So there, here I am.
Fantastic. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to, at the hour, we're going to be dropping into a meditation together. And I would love to have us just lean into the light and into a heart light activation today. And Jason is going to share the gong. You're going to play the gong during that time. Yes?
Yes. Can I say one thing before we get there?
Yes, you may.
Part of the reason I have this over the gong, I maybe should have had the tapestry I have of Ram with his arrow, but this is what I chose. The song that we opened with, that Om Apadamapa, was the last mantra challenge we did in Larisa's Love Warriors. As Larisa mentioned, we're starting a new one this Tuesday, and this is kind of a representation of it. One of the seed sounds that is in that mantra, Shreem, is the seed sound of this lovely personification of abundance and generosity, which is Lakshmi. So before I take it down to gong, I thought I'd just mention that and how excited I am to start this new Adi Shakti mantra practice for 40 days and then another day is celebration. But that's why this was up there, is to represent Lakshmi. And kind of my mom. A lot of people who know her was like, she was so magical. She just seemed to get everything she wants. And people often like pray to Lakshmi for abundance. But to me, the secret is generosity. I think of her as the goddess of generosity first, which creates abundance. And my mom certainly had that figured out.
Yes, she did. Yes,
Oh.
thank you, love.
You know,
I also,
as you
oh.
lead the prayer today, I was just wondering, Larisa, as you lead the prayer and the meditation, if we can weave in a dedication to Lakshmi and the personification of Jason's mother, because it is such an incredibly powerful time when someone that we are that close to transitions. And the transition is very, very sad for those of us left behind, but it's also the ultimate liberation. And I've watched my mother and my father and my own wife through their death. And in all 3 cases, I was fortunate enough to experience their liberation simultaneously to my sadness, but feeling the incredible liberation from the body and being back in the bigger picture, waking up from this dream into the bigger dream, if you will. So maybe we can tie that into your meditation this morning or your prayer.
I would love that. Yeah, we love our Mama Marie, and we feel her powerfully within our community. She was very active actually within the Love Warrior group. She would come in during our shares and she would comment, and she loved so many of the people in our community and they loved her. So she is definitely here with us today. And I would love for us to feel in to Mama Marie and just help her rise even more into that ascend and into that oneness with spirit that she absolutely is. And I want to acknowledge all of our Love Warriors that are coming online on our page who are not in the Zoom room right now, that are coming in, like our Marty is in there, I see, and Cecily and Diane is in there. Sento was coming in from India. So Sonia, Sherry Dean, people are coming in for the meditation. Phyllis, I see Phyllis in there. Yay. So I just want to acknowledge, I have that going. I have it silent, so I'm not feeding back, but I have that stream going as well. And I just want to acknowledge the love and the connection of our community of the WEvolution. And before we dive into meditation, everyone, let's do the Adi mantra together. I don't have my harmonium set up, but if we could, the Adi mantra is Om Namo Gurudev Namo. And we bow to the divinity within ourselves and all around us, which is one and the same. And I like to also add bowing to the courageous human that said yes to incarnating, yes to embodying unconditional love in this life. Saying yes to the contractions before the expansions of being human. So if you can bring your focus to your third eye, we're going to chant this 3 times together. Deep breath in. Om Namo Guru Dev Namo Om Namo Guru Dev Namo Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. A deep breath in, holding the breath in your heart, holding an intention for today, for the WEvolution, and hold it as long as you can, surrounding that in so much love. Okay, it's 11:11. So Jason, please unmute yourself and play that gong for us. And I'll mute myself, okay? So, but I'll lead in an open. Thank you. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Love Warriors. Thank you, beloveds. Thank you. Thank you for diving in the deep for 11 minutes. Thank you for opening to source, to yourself, to the spirit within, to your soul. Thank you, Scott, for creating this wonderful, yummy space for us all to come into. That so yummy. The gong was so yummy. All of you, thank you. Our collective we. Yes. Yummy, the juiciness of it all. Thank you for raising the vibration together today. There's a lot of us here in the Zoom room. There's a lot of us, even more as well, and on the Love Warrior group page. Beautiful to be together.
Imagining giving each of our primary panelists one more chance to share a final thought. And I also want to acknowledge a couple of other people that are in the audience. This WEvolution week kind of began on Thursday night. Christy Michael, so I'm going to put the spotlight, or I'm going to add her to us. Christy put together this really wonderful program. It was the 1-year anniversary of January 6th, and she put together a beautiful, beautiful event that I hosted along with Gary Malkin and Mary Magdalene. We'll go ahead and share what you'd like to share, Christy, but you got to unmute. You need to unmute first.
Thank you so much. I mean, Larisa, what you just did with this meditation, that's what we did with the whole country. And this January 6th, sending a healing wave of love with Gary Malcolm in the Heart Coherence, with Michaela Gaston, who has been an ambassador that works with the refugees and helping to bridge, make a bridge of love and help them with the healing power of music to heal their PTSD and find their way home back to their hearts. And it was so fantastic. And Scott, God bless you. You were just such a wonderful sacred masculine, opening the portals, being present with all of us in your fabulous way, and introducing the world of healing to the Global Peace Tribe. And I just sent off a whole big thing to Michael Moore. So everybody go right to Michael Moore at michaelmoore.com, because we need some airtime given to what is heartfelt and the love that we can send out. And he is pounding the drums for social justice, but he's only doing it in the more complaining and worrying and wringing our hands and whatnot. And we have a fabulous solution, which is to gather in love and to, like what was shared earlier. I love that breathing in, connecting the heart and the body, and then we have something that impacts a greater good and sends the greater good. As Mary Magdalene says in her gospel, the good came among them. And we want to vision the democracy where the good comes among them. So anyway, thank you so much. I'm going to put my link to you can go find out more about it. Please send out the video.
There is a YouTube. I just put the link into our chat box, and I'll also put it on the Love Coach Academy and Shakti Love Warrior page. But this is where you can find it on YouTube, and it's a really beautiful, beautiful event. And thank you again, Christy. You did a wonderful, wonderful job with that.
You too, Scott. You made it happen with me, dude.
Satyana, I'm going to put the spotlight on you for any final thoughts you'd like to share.
Thank you. Yes, I would love to. One of the things it made me think during the meditation is, remember I showed the book before IWE and it was on the wrong side, but saying it was genou, a genou, which is a knee. And I was sharing with somebody who is like a land worker, like a gardener for food today. And he said, until we put our knee to the earth, he said the word IWE is not bad in French either, because until we have reverence for the earth, for Mama Gaia, they can't be a WEvolution either. It's so interconnected. So I really wanted to tie that in also. And then because I spoke of Christopher, for some of those who don't know him, I wanted to show him. That was my son, Christopher, who inspired the Green Valentine Festival. And just want to show the last picture that inspires me for WEvolution is like the Ubuntu. I am because we are. And so I'll end with that. But thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
It's
Thank
beautiful to
you.
make you look forward to more of you in the future, for sure. Thank you. You know, The Awakening World is our new series that we do now every Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday, where we pick a theme. And of course, the theme this weekend was the WEvolution. Next weekend, we will be honoring the legacy of Martin Luther King. And we've got some wonderful presenters, Pato and Antoinette, Reverend Bridge Feltus, Dr. Brenda Wade, my dear friend Oshala, who Christy knows, and many others. So that's going to be next weekend. And then the weekend after that, I get to have as my co-host, kind of as I co-hosted with Larisa this week, Eden Amadora is going to be my co-host. And we're going to be collaborating with the Twin Ray, wonderful Shakina Man, Sanandaji. And that's going to be all about connecting to the divine and the various ways that we can connect to divinity. So I'm really looking forward to that weekend with you. And any thoughts you'd like to share, dear Eden?
Yes, just so much joy right now. I know I'm not alone and this feeling of having raised our vibration so much, just with all of the heartfelt shares and the love in this space. And there was an expression that I saw once several years ago, and many of you have probably heard this before. I thought I'd just drop it into the field. It's so simple. I love words. It's a play on words. And it says, when I becomes we, illness becomes wellness. It's a very simple play on words, just, switching out that I with the W-E, illness, the word illness becomes wellness. And I think we're living in a world where there has been a lot of focus on illness and the fear of, what's happening. And so I love this expression, especially now we're seeing each other as another me, that we are together in this. And instead of all of that, I'm not safe because I don't know, if you're ill or not. This is an incredible opportunity to bridge our hearts and see each other as divine beloveds, and remember that we become the wellness this whole earth is moving towards in our evolutionary arc right now. I like talking a lot about the turning of an age when I'm transmitting, because often at turning of ages, there is that contraction we've been talking about. It's like we're getting squeezed through this birth canal to then be shot like an arrow into this beautiful age of we, the greater age of Aquarius that, it's been foretold, where we'll have technologies within ourselves, our own cities awakening, our own superpowers and heart-centered awareness that, we have no idea what's possible between hearts and minds in this next age, except for little glimpses we're given now, where we're waking up already to this beauty and this wonder and this magic. So I, like you, am a visionary. I'm a holder of frequency. I'm holding this vision, and I thought it could be really powerful before we leave today to co-vision even a few words in the chat bar of what we see coming and possible in that yes, yum, yay, high frequency blessing And it could be really simple, like cleaning up the oceans. Wouldn't that be wonderful if we dedicated, like Buckminster Fuller says, all of the weaponry into livingry, all of the resources that we put into division and war, into unity and purifying the waters and the air. So let's use our chat bar just for a second and just type in a few of your own kind of yes to this, the vision of what we do want. I know it's been put in the field, instead of focusing on what we're afraid of, instead what we're joyful for, that yes. And I'm seeing amazing young people inventing fantastic ways to clean nuclear energy and all these things you mentioned. Yes, shift to sun energy. Let's kind of open up our hearts and feel what else. How about a world where children are reflected in their unique and amazing superpowers, that we're not put in little boxes to all have to be the same, where they're nurtured and given those loving guidance that they need to really blossom. Miles of smiles, yay.
Love to all. Building wellness. By the way, that's a beautiful one, from illness to wellness. I never heard that before. Building wellness through prayer actions, praying through nourishing the earth.
Oh, you
Beautiful.
can feel the vibration raise as we vision into this world that we're co-creating through our heart-centered awareness. Joyful for a community. Go ahead.
Satchana writes, I see amazing young people inventing fantastic ways to clean nuclear energy and all the other things that you mentioned.
Yes, please. Yes, yes, yes. And Susan Huff says, building future humanitarian leaders as we bring clean water to all. Yes, yes, yes.
Amushar writes, joyful for a community here that recognizes its divinity and interconnectedness.
Yes, yes.
And Eleanor, one of our wonderful regulars, writes, embracing self, others, and Gaia. Thank you. Thank you. Eden, thank you so much for being with us today. And I'm really looking forward to our weekend coming up.
Me too. So excited.
Larisa, I'm going to turn it over to you to wrap us up here.
I am so incredibly grateful for this awakening of consciousness that is happening right now. I'm so grateful for all of you who see that this is an opportunity, that this isn't the end of the world. It's only the end of the world as we know it. And the end of the world as we know it is moving towards what we want, letting go of what we don't want, and moving towards what we want. All these beautiful visions that you all are holding about clean water, about children getting to express who they are, connecting to Mama Gaia, knowing that we are Mama Gaia, that we are air, earth, water, fire, ether, that we are each other. Thank you, beloveds, for WEvisioning together. And as we continue to WEvision and we continue to collaborate in these ways, we're going to connect more and more dots. We're going to get so excited because we're going to be like, oh, wait, and then there's this, and then there's that, and then there's this. Because as we focus on what we want, we are heart storming, rather than, mind storming, we're heart storming. And we're creating a storm, a vortex, so to speak, a beautiful vortex of love, and embodying that. So thank you, beloveds. Keep sharing what you see as the world that you want to live in. What does a WEvolution look like to you? What are the things maybe we haven't spoken today that need to be spoken from your medicine, from your puzzle piece? The WEvolution is the we space, the I within the we. So we need to hear your I to create an even more balanced and yummy and playful and high vibrational we space for all. Thank you, beloveds, for being here. Thank you, Scott, for saying yes. and creating the space for us to talk even more about the WEvolution and what that looks like. I want to thank Divine Mother, for when I was in that crisis in the hospital and being opening to Divine Mother, which is truly within all of us. When I say Divine Mother, I'm also aware that Divine Mother is not out there. Divine Mother is within all of us, but I experienced it as a divine vision of being taught about the WEvolution. So I want to acknowledge that this is the time of embodying Ma and awakening the Kundalini, awakening the Shakti Kundalini, which connects us even more to inside out, to spirit. It's happening. And I invite all of you here that are in this Zoom room today to join us in our Shakti Love Warrior group, to come, ask to join and join us in our 41-day Shakti, the Adi Shakti mantra challenge. We're going to do it for 41 days together to gently activate the Kundalini, to begin an even deeper awakening in our bodies that connects us to our spirit. Thank you, beloveds. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, everyone. Love you all.
Thank you, everybody. Please to join us next weekend for the Awakening World, Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday morning. Larisa, I have so enjoyed creating with you this weekend. It's been awesome. And thank you, Jason. Thank you, Jason, for being with us. We didn't get a chance to have a little conclusion with you, but your harmonium, your gong, your beautiful spirit. Larisa said so much about you, and you're just a beautiful, beautiful man. Thank you.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
And I always like to close the Sacred Sunday show by just reminding us that the word sacred, we can make any moment sacred just by choosing to see the divinity in the people around us, the divinity in nature, the divinity in ourselves. That's how we make any moment sacred. So let's all have a very sacred Sunday. Goodbye, everybody.
Namaste.